Welcome to the NZ Travel Show, an interactive show where you can ask your NZ travel questions to the experts behind nzpocketguide.com, New Zealand's largest travel guide. The NZ Travel Show will start in exactly 2 minutes. Just the time for you to hit the like button, ring the notification bell, and subscribe if you have not done so yet. NZPocketGuide.com has over 3,000 articles covering all aspects of travelling in New Zealand, from a working holiday gap year to tips for a perfect family holiday. The site also features dozens of pre-made itineraries that you can use to plan your ideal trip in New Zealand. It's all available for free at nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. The NZ Travel Show is hosted by Robin, the Operations Manager of South Pacific Pocket Guide, the company behind nzpocketguide.com. The New Zealand Travel Show is also hosted by Laura, a journalist and editor-in-chief of South Pacific Pocket Guide and all its publications, including nzpocketguide.com. We're exactly 1 minute away from the NZ Travel Show. Get yourself comfortable and start asking your NZ travel questions in the chat. Robin and Laura will go over them when the show starts. In 30 seconds, our experts will be live from New Zealand to give you all the practical New Zealand travel tips you need, from the best transport options to the best accommodations and activities to choose for the perfect New Zealand holiday. Live from New Zealand, this is the NZ Travel Show with your travel experts, Robin and Laura.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the NZ Travel Show. It is Sunday, the 3rd of August, 2023. It's 8 a.m. right here in New Zealand, and we are celebrating the first week of spring.
Yeah.
Everything is blossoming, like all the plants are...
straight away.
Yeah, I know, like instant blossom right here. No delay. Get your blossom today.
In reality, it's still frosty mornings.
It is still pretty cold.
It's still pretty nippy.
Yeah, it is. Okay, how is everybody going? How are you doing?
Amazing.
Amazing.
How are you, Robin?
Absolutely fabulous. Sherry is doing awesome as well, all the way from Australia, saying good morning, guys.
Good morning, Sherry.
How are you doing, Sherry? Yeah, so it's the first week of spring, so we've got plenty on hand for you guys. But I thought that today we do things a little bit differently, and we just start, rather than starting with the theme of the week, we start straight away with today's poll. That's right. So from time to time, I enjoy posting a very silly poll on our Facebook page, and this time around, a couple of weeks ago.
You mean YouTube page?
Yeah, YouTube. What did I say?
Facebook.
Oh, no, I don't do anything on Facebook. Facebook bores me. But yes, on YouTube, we do like to post some silly polls. Not the Polish people, the poll that you answer and you answer questions. I am getting lost. Anyway, this time around, 2 weeks ago, I asked, what mistake do most tourists do in New Zealand? Or what mistake did you do? And we got 95 people that responded. And out of the 4 answers that I gave you, the number 1 answer at 57%, you guys said that you keep on flipping the windshield instead of the turn signal lever.
Yeah.
Because, we're driving on the wrong side of the road here in New Zealand. So yeah, that's definitely something that I've done.
Even people from the UK make that mistake, even though we also drive on the left in the UK.
It's because you're shit at driving?
No, I think they have swapped there's something about the indicators. I think they're on the other side here. Because when my dad came to visit a few years ago, he was making the same mistakes as well. It's like, you wouldn't expect that, but yeah, I think it's actually the windscreen and the windscreen wipers and the signal turner is on the other side.
Yeah, let's blame the windscreen. Yeah, let's blame it. Okay, the second biggest answer that we got was confusing a weka for a kiwi bird. So being like, oh, I saw a kiwi bird, I saw a kiwi bird.
Yes.
But no, it's just a weka. Actually, as locals, we call it the tourist kiwi bird, don't we? In
yes,
New Zealand, yeah.
yes.
So we have seen some tour guide actually calling wekas the tourist kiwi birds because they get them really excited. Okay, number 3 is getting confused with the trolley at the supermarket register, which is
Yeah.
it is kind of a bit of a mess in New Zealand. They kind of take your trolley away. No, you have to go in front of your trolley, empty it, and then the lady at the cash register will start filling up another trolley,
Yeah.
a different one, which sometimes is of a different size.
Yeah.
She doesn't use your bag. It's an absolute mess and a crazy nonsense. And the last answer that you guys said was to say thongs instead of genders.
You put things instead
I
of
know because
jandals.
YouTube didn't want to let me leave the word thongs. So here you go.
okay.
So
God, YouTube.
Yes.
Something so prudent.
yes, so thongs, yeah. So saying thong instead of gender. So flip flop is also another word to use. So yeah, here you go. That was the poll of the day. I just thought that was kind of fun to start with that today. Anyway, who's there, Laura?
Who is there? They were there a second ago. We have Adil saying, Kia ora, everyone. Kia ora, Adil. Cherie is saying that she's good. I'm getting excited, but also nervous. It's getting close. Only 5 weeks to go.
Ooh.
She also says it's not the wrong side, it's the right side. I agree. We also have Rick here saying, Kia ora, everybody. I'm back. Last weekend I couldn't join because of work. Boo, work.
Boo work.
And then Cherie says that's why you use self-service counters.
Yeah.
Just to get away from the confusion of using a human being at the checkout.
Yeah, the whole system, I don't know, it's just odd.
And it sometimes feels different at different supermarkets as well. I still don't get it. I still don't know half the time what I'm meant to be doing.
All right. So with that aside, let's go traditional and go with our theme of the week. As per usual, you guys can always ask all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. That's what this live show is all about. So ask your questions, but in between questions, we'll cover our theme this week.
What's the theme of the week, Robin?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Laura. The theme of the week today is the weather in October. As we're celebrating the first week of spring right now, this September, we thought we'd, kind of jump ahead and help Cherie and all the other people that are going to be traveling in New Zealand in October. October is an awesome time to visit New Zealand, and it is considered one of the shoulder season, meaning that there are fewer people visiting New Zealand, and therefore the country will feel a little less crowded. Not that New Zealand ever really feels crowded, let's be honest. But that also means that some activities, some transport options, and even maybe some accommodations can be a little cheaper than in the midst of the summer season. What's more, October is mid-spring in New Zealand, so you may be able to experience some mild, comfortable weather. So today we're going to go over some tips for traveling in New Zealand in October. We're going to go over all the different weather patterns that you can expect, and we'll wrap up with a bit of a packing list for your trip to New Zealand in October. So let's get started. But before, you love when I do that.
Let's get started. Oh, let's not. Let's not get started.
Cherie says, thanks for doing this one so early for my over-planning brain. Yeah, you know.
That's okay.
We knew we needed to help you out, so here you go. All right, so as per usual, we're going to get started until you guys have enough questions for us. So, let's begin with 5 tips for visiting New Zealand in October. And to do that, we're going to go to the beautiful Laura.
Okay, let's start with our first tip for traveling in October is to make sure that your day pack always has at least a rain jacket and one extra warm layer available, because during that mid-spring season the weather is ever changeable and you'll be pretty glad to have just those backups available when you're out and about. Next up, be aware that some walks may be closed because October is still during the lambing season in New Zealand. For instance, one of the most popular walks that does get closed occasionally for the lambing season is the Roy's Peak walk in Wanaka. So yeah, make sure that you just double check on the Department of Conservation website for on that specific walk page. They'll have a little red alert at the top saying whether or not the walk is open. So just double check that before you go on any of your walks to make sure it is open. And speaking of the lambing season, if you are in New Zealand on a work visa, like a working holiday visa, and you're looking for some really cool experience, but also some accommodation and food in exchange for doing some work, then look out for woofing opportunities during October. Usually farms need a lot of help during the lambing season, and this is the perfect opportunity to do some woofing. Next tip is to make sure to slap on some sunscreen. So yes, even on cloudy days in October, if you are out all day, you most definitely will get sunburned. It's just the UV rays are extra harsh here in New Zealand. So yeah, make sure that you do have sunscreen if you are out all day, especially if it is a sunny day, then you are going out even for just a short while. Very good idea to have some high factor sunscreen on. And then finally, October is the shoulder season in New Zealand. So it means that you don't have to book everything way in advance, not like in summer. But yeah, you can travel a little bit more spontaneously. However, this rule doesn't really apply for really small tourist hubs, like for instance Milford Sound. If you want to stay in Milford Sound, there's only one proper accommodation there. Same for Lake Tekapo. It's a very small town, but everybody wants to go there, so usually accommodation's booked out all year. So yeah, make sure that for those small areas, do your bookings ahead. Elsewhere, you don't need to worry too much.
Here you go. Next up, we will be talking about the average temperatures in New Zealand. But nobody's talking to us, so maybe we'll talk about it right now. What's going on, guys? Why is everybody sleeping today?
Don't be shy, guys. Ask your questions about traveling in
Shy
New Zealand.
guys, you've been looking too much. We've been playing a bit of Mario Kart lately, so Laura usually picks the shy guy. So yeah, here you go. Let's go over the temperature then. I need to do that. Okay. All right, so let's get started. No, not get started. It's not started.
Let's continue.
Let's continue. Alright, let's continue with the typical temperature in New Zealand in October. And to do that, we're going to send Laura to the map. Oh, wow, the map's completely broken. Look at that. Oh. What's going on?
You get double rubbing.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of horrible. Wait, guys, we need to solve that problem. What seems to be the problem? I'm very confused. Oh, well, we can't do that, can we?
Please hold colours.
Yeah, hold colours. So that's the view 1. What's going on with the view 2? And why is it like that?
Oh no. We should have done a test before we started.
I'm very confused. Huh. Oh, nobody wants to see that. There you go. But even that is wrong.
Yeah.
It's very weird. This is very odd. Well.
Oh dear.
Huh.
In the meantime,
yeah.
I'll read some comments.
Yeah, talk to people.
Cherie
That is
says,
very odd.
I don't wear sunscreen often enough. Maybe I should do it more while I'm traveling soon. Yeah, I would have thought, especially since you're coming from Australia, I would have thought you guys would have the same issues as we do in New Zealand with that super intense sun, or even more so. We have
Oh, here you go.
Sans Carry Deb saying, "Hi, sir. Many, many loves from India."
That's weird. Well, this is down. My God. Anyway, that's fine. We're having fun at least. You know what? Sometimes I'm glad there's no one. All right. Okay, we're done.
Get back?
Yeah, you can get back.
Get back in my position.
All right.
We're back.
Woohoo! It's relatively at the right place. Yeah,
Yes.
we're good. All right, so let's talk about the typical temperature in New Zealand in October. All right, so let's begin with northern New Zealand, which encompasses Northland, Auckland, and Tauranga, where you can expect around 14 degrees Celsius, which is about 57 degrees Fahrenheit. In central North Island, we have Hamilton, Taupo, and Rotorua. Those are the three places, like the main populated area there. The average temperature during the day will be around 13 degrees Celsius, which is around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. In southwest North Island, we have New Plymouth, Palmerston North, and Wellington, with an average an average temperature in the daylight of 12 degrees Celsius, which is around 53 degrees Fahrenheit. In eastern North Island, we have Gisborne, Napier, and the Wairarapa region, where you can get some great wines. And that is an average of 14 degrees Celsius, which is around 57 degrees Fahrenheit. In the South Island now, we're taking the ferry to go to Blenheim and Nelson, which is northern South Island. We have an average of 13 degrees Celsius, which is around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. If we head to the wild west coast with Westport, Hokitika and Milford Sound, we have an average of 11 degrees Celsius, which is around 51 degrees Fahrenheit. In the eastern South Island with Kaikoura, Christchurch and Timaru, we have an average of 12 degrees Celsius, which is about 53 degrees Fahrenheit. In the inland South Island, we have Lake Tekapo, Queenstown and Alexandra, which average around 9 to 11 degrees Celsius, which is 48 to 51 degrees Fahrenheit. And finally, wrapping up with the southern New Zealand with Dunedin and Invercargill, we have an average of 11 degrees Celsius, which is about 51 degrees Fahrenheit. Next up, we'll talk about rainfalls. Okay, Sherry says, okay, I'm definitely packing my winter stuff. This is not cold. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, it's not hot. It's I would say mild. It's comfortable, but you'll be probably thankful to have a bit of a warm layer. That's for sure.
Especially a windbreaker, because this, like when we talk about the temperature, right? We rarely talk about. I mean, we talk about what the thermometer will say, right? But we rarely talk about the effect of winds.
Yeah.
And that usually makes you like really. Like it feels very chilly, right? So quite often, even in the weather forecast, sometimes they say like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like 20 degrees, but it will feel like 12 because it's really windy, right? We don't take that in consideration when kind of giving you the temperatures right here. And what we usually do is that we just give you what the thermometer is going to show, and then depending on what kind of if you're in the shade or if you're in the heat and everything, it's gonna feel very, very differently. Like a walk at 12 degrees Celsius on the mountaintop will be absolutely fine, with me, and I probably would be in a t-shirt. However, if I do that in a damp forest, like thick rain forest, I will want a jumper, and probably I'll put an extra little layer on top of it as well. So, that does feel extremely different. And you feel the weather way more than I do.
Yeah.
You usually get chilly fast.
I do. Like, it's different people feel like the cold more than others, that's for sure. And yeah, I'm always thankful to have extra layers. So yes, especially as soon as the sun goes in, that's the biggest difference. Like when the sun's out in New Zealand, it feels really hot, and then as soon as it goes behind clouds, or it even turns to evening or whatever, then that's when you really do feel the chill then. So yeah.
Yeah, Sherry agrees with you. She also said we are getting 29 degrees on Tuesday.
Oh, that would feel nice.
That is pretty nice. No, we're getting some rains for the weekend, so hopefully we're sending it your way, and it won't stay a while, because why do we keep the rain? Honestly, why? What's the point of rain?
Yeah,
honestly.
I don't know.
All right. Okay, so we've done temperature for October, so we'll move on to the next part, shall we?
We shall.
All right. Let's see if the transition will work. Good. Okay. All right. So now that we're done with temperature, let's talk about the other pattern in the other.
So I'm ready to go. I thought you were changing. Sorry.
Okay. Let's talk about the other weather pattern in October, and let's talk about rainfalls. Okay, so rainfall in October are quite frequent. Again, we are in spring, and the New Zealand weather tends to be ever changeable, and October, especially when we're in this kind of season, it will rain on and off quite a lot. But if we are to look at the average rainfall that we're going to get region by region, here is what you can expect in October. So in northern New Zealand, which is Northland, Auckland and Tauranga, you can expect 120 millimeters of rain, which is about 5 inches. In central North Island, which is Hamilton, Taupo and Rotorua, you can expect around 80 millimeters of rain, which is about 3 inches. In the southwest North Island, which is New Plymouth, Palmerston North and Wellington, you can expect 100 millimeters of rain, which is about 4 inches. If you hate the rain, you can head to the eastern North Island with Gisborne, Napier and Wairarapa, which only going to get about 60 millimeters of rain, which is about 2.4 inches. This is the driest place in October on the North Island. And and that's it. Then head to the South Island. That's it. I'm done with the North Island. What am I doing? We're going to northern South Islands with Blenheim and Nelson, 90 millimeters of rain, which is about 3.5 inches. In the western South Island, again, always the wettest part, west coast, so that's Westport, Hokitika and Milford Sound, between 300 millimeters and 700 millimeters of rain, which is 12 to 27.5 inches. Yes, that's right. I got the numbers correct right here. It is lots of rain. In eastern South Island, we have Kaikoura, Christchurch and Timaru, which is about 50 millimeters of rain, 2 inches of rain. This is the lowest amount of rain in the entire country, whoop whoop, in October. Inland South Island, we have Lake Tekapo, Queenstown and Alexandra. You can expect 40 millimeters to 60 millimeters, sorry, 1.5 to 2.4. No, 1.5 to 2.4 compared to 2 inches. That's not lower.
Oh, it's 40.
It's 4260. 4260.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
No, it's not.
Bad.
Yeah. And then southern New Zealand, we have Dunedin and Invercargill with 70 millimeters, which is 2.7 inches. Here you go. That's all you need to know about the rain. Next up, we'll talk about the best places to visit in October. Nope. Yes.
Sorry for heckling you from the background. That's lower.
But that wasn't. All right. Sherry says, I have everything crossed. I don't get rains on my Hobbiton day and my Hooker Valley track day. Yeah, the Hooker Valley track will be suboptimal. Honestly, the Hobbiton day, because it's relatively fast as a tour, you should be good. Clay is here saying good morning. Woo!
Good morning.
He says Wi-Fi at the hotel is rubbish. I may not be around for much at the hotel. Where are you, Clay?
Which hotel?
Yeah.
What hotel?
Rick says, in my previous backpacking travels, I used a backpack of 75 liters, and it was a hassle sometimes. But I'm doubting to take it to New Zealand. What do you prefer, backpack or suitcase? Oh, that's a debate. We have a whole video, don't we, where we
I think
batted
so.
it out.
We have a whole video. We have a
Yeah.
whole article on NZPocketGuide.com. But yeah, it really depends on what you're doing in New Zealand, which one is best for you. Robin first came to New Zealand with a backpack and swears by the backpack. However, I came to New Zealand with a suitcase and I felt like that was perfect for what I needed it for. And yeah, so...
But mine wasn't 75 liters. That was...
No, 75
was,
litres is quite
carry-on,
large.
yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, backpacks are obviously very versatile. They're very easy to carry around, especially if you are going to be doing a lot of walking between some destinations. Say you're taking the bus and you need to then, take the bus, it drops you off somewhere, then you need to walk to your hostel. You might find different terrains and stuff to walk over, which suitcases aren't, like the wheelie suitcases aren't always ideal for. And especially if you want to couple that up with maybe doing some multi-day hiking, perhaps if you want to do some of the great walks or multi-day walks in New Zealand, well, at least you'll have like the perfect type of backpack to do that. That being said, you can also bring a wheelie suitcase and then have that sort of multi-day backpack just also packed in your suitcase or used as a carry-on type size.
To piggyback on what Laura is saying, no matter what, you will need a backpack when coming to New Zealand, because there is pretty much no one, even people that don't usually hike, that don't do at least one walk or hike in New Zealand when traveling, and therefore you will need a backpack to have your bottle of water and all those kind of things, right? So you will need at least one backpack when coming. So if you decide to travel with a suitcase, you will want to either have a day pack, like pack inside your suitcase, or have it as a carry-on. So that's the first thing. The second thing, what I usually say to people is first pick whatever you own, so you don't have to buy extra things. That's, like why consume on extra stuff? That nonsense. But if you have both, if you own a suitcase and a backpack and you don't know which one to pack with you, my take is usually if you're traveling by bus and you're going to hurdle your backpack, from one place to the other quite regularly when going from, the bus stop to your hostel or hotel or anything like that, you can get a backpack that's going to be much easier than having a wheelie suitcase. If you're traveling by car or you have your own mode of transportation, get yourself a suitcase, because like that you'll be able to have them like wide open, in your accommodation, and it makes life significantly easier to be able to kind of find what you want and organize it. So that's usually my take on it. Is like the way you travel should define what luggage you decide to use. And if you already own something, there's no need for you to buy a new one. Like, people tend to take traveling as an excuse to overconsume and buy a ton of stuff. you genuinely don't need that, right?
Yeah,
There's a
usually
couple of items here and there. Sorry,
Yeah, I was gonna
there's
say.
a couple of items here and there that you may need, yes, but it's not an excuse to buy a brand new wardrobe, a brand new this, brand new that.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah, usually the best items to get is the things that you already own.
Yeah.
And, you know, I
Because
can...
if it's between like buying like literally a new tool, a new experience, or a new backpack because you had only a suitcase, get a suitcase and get yourself a new experience. Get yourself like, you know, a nice like cruise or something. Like this would be nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, I came to New Zealand with, I just took a suitcase off my grandma and said, thanks, Granny. So it's just like, you know, just like there's usually like, people have suitcases lying around, and you know, usually just if you are going to make that one-off purchase because you absolutely have nothing, then pick something that you can use for various trips as well. Obviously, don't just choose a piece of luggage just for this one trip to New Zealand. Think about what trips you may be going on in the future as well. Yeah, it's always, you know, it's always a good idea to not overconsume and waste all that precious money and waste all those precious resources.
I'm trying to find the nail of Kiwi Lauren. She's talking about him on the post. Not yet there yet. Okay. Claire is in Lake Tekapo, which is awesome. It must be
nice.
a beautiful morning in Tekapo. I was looking at the weather on the South Island. It must be stunning right now. You are a lucky man. Sherry says, I'm taking a hard-shell suitcase and I feel like I'm going to get annoyed with it in the camper van. It's probably going to be moved around constantly. Yeah, probably. Especially in the camper van because they're big and
yeah, but there's usually like good compartments for suitcases and stuff.
for the hard shell ones, they don't often fit in those compartments in the camper van. She's having a high top one.
Yeah, but even like, you know, the high top ones under the seats, you can. It depends how big the suitcase
Would
is.
you
but
put a yellow one under the seat?
I think we would. I think it would. I think it would just fit. I think like it would just fit.
She's slowly retracting the statement. Yeah, I think definitely would. I think it would just fit. I don't think it will just stick out a little bit. It probably will be a pain.
Yeah. And when you're traveling in a suitcase, I mean, when you're traveling in a camper van, it's usually easier to sort of unpack your suitcase a little bit because it's going to be hard to access it back and forth. So yeah, you then want to unpack into your camper van and sort of set up your living quarters.
Oh, you're living. Oh yeah, Sherry has a scent that now is in different colours. She was saying.
Yeah.
Well, listen. You will be able to settle that in 5 weeks, Sherry.
Yeah, let us know.
You'll be able to tell us. Would you be able to put it underneath or not?
Yeah.
Cool. Anthony Comstock is here. What is he saying?
He says, Morena from Rodeo, California, show me your face.
What's showing me a face?
Whose face do you want to see? This one or this one?
Clay says, yeah, it's pretty nice here in the last couple of days and even the nights. Considering buying a holiday house up here this time of year is super quiet and much better than summer.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Holiday house in Lake Tekapo, that is pretty nice.
Suave.
Yeah, Airbnb business right here. I can see that coming.
And then in summer, rake in the moolah.
the clay BNB right here.
Yeah.
Okay, Kiroen says, turning in late because I was getting my nail done. I didn't do this on purpose, but they're a bit NZ Pocket Guide-esque, blue and yellow. I posted a picture on Patreon, subconscious shut out in New Zealand. I was trying to see it, I can't...
yeah, we'll have a look.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know what Kiroen is talking about, she's part of our Patreon. Oh yeah, that's cool. She's part of our Patreon group, and as our Patreon, they have access to a secret Facebook group where we share... Plenty. When we cover
share
our
insights
space.
such as nail
insight
colours.
about traveling New Zealand. Maybe not just that, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is really fun. I like it a lot. Cool. Okay, we caught up with everything. So yeah. So as per usual, guys, ask all your questions about traveling in New Zealand. But in the meantime, we will be talking about our theme of the week. Shiri is pretty pleased with your nails, Lauren. She says her are green right now.
And Clay is putting the Mr. Krabs voice.
Will you attempt it?
I actually don't know what it sounds like.
I think I'm gonna hurt my throat if I'm attempting it, but yeah, money. Okay. Let's get back to we'll be your first client, Clay, if you have your Clay BNB in Tekapo.
And hey guys, don't need to worry about booking too far ahead in Lake Tekapo anymore because Clay's gonna have the accommodation sorted.
All right. Okay. So let's continue with our coverage of the weather in New Zealand in October with, some more travel tips. And what we thought we'd do is that we talk about some of the best places that there are to visit in New Zealand in October, starting with Laura.
Yeah, so a great place to visit during October, which is in the middle of spring in New Zealand, is Christchurch. So Christchurch is known as the Garden City of New Zealand, and there's many stunning gardens that you can visit. There is, of course, the beautiful Hagley Park with the Botanic Gardens attached to it. And yeah, going through the gardens during spring while many flowers are in bloom is the perfect time to visit.
Another great place to visit is also on the South Island, actually south of the South Island, and it's Stewart Island. So October is the middle of spring, and that's when all the birds are trying to find mate and do the nasties. And that's for to us humans, we just see enchanting, beautiful bird songs, and we just love it. So yeah, the bird life is completely like changed and becoming super alive at that time of the year. So visiting places like beautiful Stewart Island and the nearby Ulva Island, which is a bird sanctuary, can be absolutely enchanting.
Okay, next up we have Hamilton. Also for garden reasons. I seem to be the one talking about gardens all of a sudden. But yeah, Hamilton is home to the famous Hamilton Gardens, which is a beautiful free attraction to visit. And of course, one of the best times to visit is during the blossoming spring months.
Alright, so a really good place to visit in October in New Zealand is the Tongariro National Park, mostly famous for the Tongariro Crossing. So you guys know the Tongariro Crossing. If you're planning a trip to New Zealand, there is kind of no way you don't know it. And October is a great time to tackle it because it is before the really busy tourist season, and it is just after the snow melts, and making it safe to hike alone. So doing this icon of New Zealand without the crowd is possible in October, and we highly recommend it.
And finally, the Fiordland National Park is a great time to visit in October. It's just before that busy tourist season kicks in, which usually tends to be right at the end of October when all the hiking trails start to get busier and all that. So if you fit in some good hikes, even multi-day hikes, just before the end of October, you're likely to experience sort of the best of both worlds, where you get some more decent weather than in winter, but also just beating the crowds before the trails get busy.
Alright, next up we'll talk about a packing list for October. But before that, let's get back to the live chat. Kimi Loren says, I teach middle school band music, so at that age of kids, I love all the fun colors. Though I do that to celebrate back to school. New school year start with the kiddos on Tuesday. Oh, alright.
Nice.
I think the school year in New Zealand finishes. They get like around the Christmas time, kind of like they get a few like quite a lot of weeks off, just because that's our summer, right? So I don't think we have our school holiday at the same time that you do in Canada. But again, we know very little about small humans. And she say, and for those who like to run or walk or cycle, I find the Hagley Park an awesome running route while I was in Christchurch in July, paved and away from traffic and nice and green and pretty. Yeah,
that is a perfect place.
Yeah, it is, and it's quite big, so you actually do get enough to actually do a long-ish run.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really nice. Sherry is very excited about seeing the Hamilton Garden. That's not the first time she's mentioning it. She keeps on mentioning it weekly right now. Is that the thing you're looking forward to the most for your trip to New Zealand? It feels like you're really looking forward to the Hamilton Garden. But that's it. They're pretty cool. I mean, there is a lot of different gardens there.
There is.
Quite
and
fun.
also they always seem to be adding like a new garden here and there. So I feel like...
I wonder where they find the space.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I feel like even since we last visited, there's probably a few more new ones there, though. Yeah, we should go visit. We should go visit again. We are passing through Hamilton soon.
Yeah. Sherry says, do you think there will be any snow still on the mountain? I want to see snow-capped mountains. So in October, yes, you will see some snow. There is a chance you may not see any on the North Islands, but on the South Island for sure.
Yeah, well, actually, you probably will. You will still see some on like Mount Ruapehu and stuff on the North Island. But yeah, you are planning on doing the Hooker Valley track, which is in the Mount Cook National Park. So for sure, you'll definitely see snow-capped mountains in Mount Cook, because Mount Cook itself is topped
snow
with
all year
snow
round,
all
yeah.
year round. So yeah, you will definitely see snow on the mountains. You won't be walking in snow or anything like that, but yeah, you'll definitely get to see it.
Yeah, you won't be walking knee-high in snow. It won't be
No.
like your Arctic expedition. But you'll see snow from afar, and that'll be good and safe.
Yes, and it will look great on photos.
Yes. Sherry's anti-running, but Rick is for running. So yeah, battle art.
Yeah.
A new contender enters the ring.
Clay says that Tekapo is surrounded by snow at the moment. Can't see it melting away in a hurry.
No, I think it's going to stay around for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
And Sherry says that we are the one that keep bringing up the Hamilton Gardens.
We do. We did talk about it last week, or not. Well, whenever we did the September
Yes, that's true, yeah.
weather, we talked about it as being a good time to visit the Hamilton Gardens as well.
So it's our fault. So we
yes,
are to blame.
it is us.
What? That's shocking. By the way, Sherry, have you updated your itinerary spreadsheet on the
On the Patreon group.
The Patreon group? Is that do we need to look at yours? Because we've been looking at Age's one over the last couple of days to help him out, which was great. So yeah, if you do need some questions or anything like that, just oh, she says she did. Okay, we'll have a look at it. Maybe we'll look at it during the Patreon show, Sherry, today, eh?
Yeah.
So we'll have a quick look at that. By the way, today we also have a Patreon show where we're going to be going over our carry-on bags. So they're packed, and we'll show you what's in there. Surprise stuff.
Hopefully there's some passports in there.
That would be handy. I would like to have my passport on hand. That'd be great. Okay. Yep, okay, we're done. So let's go back to our theme of the week. Again, you guys can ask us all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, but in the meantime, we continue with our theme this week. And this week, we're talking about the October packing list. So here are a few extra things that you need to pack specifically if you are visiting New Zealand in October with Laura.
With me. Okay. Yeah, so your packing list for October. And pretty much any season in New Zealand. But let's start off with mid-layers. So in order to, have that extra layer to put on if you are feeling the chill, or on the other hand, take it off when it is a little bit warmer, which can definitely happen in October. Make sure that you do pack at least a couple of mid-layers. I'm talking more like, an extra jumper or like a hoodie or something that can go over the top of, your t-shirts, or even if you are wearing like thin thermals underneath, just something to put on top for extra warmth or to take off with ease. Next up, we have a rain jacket. So this is something you definitely need. Again, in October or any time of the year. It can rain at any time in New Zealand, often with little warning. So yeah, having a good rain jacket, not just one of those cheap scrunch-up rain jackets, like an actual proper rain jacket, is definitely highly recommended in New Zealand. Also to do with the rain, make sure that you have some waterproof hiking shoes or hiking boots, whatever your preference is. Not only is there a lot of walks in New Zealand, and we're not just talking about the long day, multi-day hiking. You don't have to worry about doing all that if you don't want to, but there's also many of the sites and attractions are down at least short walking trails. So having shoes that are comfortable to wear all day when you're out and about and to do some walks is definitely a must, and coupling that with waterproof hiking shoes is ideal, especially when it starts raining. You don't want your shoes to be soaked through because that will take your whole trip to probably dry. Next up, make sure you have some swimwear. So there's lots of opportunities to, get in the water in New Zealand. Although in October, it's probably still a little too cold to go swimming at the beach. New Zealand luckily has a few hot pools, has some really cool water adventure activities like whitewater rafting or caving, that sort of thing. So there's usually opportunity to wear some sort of swimwear at some point. You'll also want to make sure you have high-factor sunscreen, because although it may seem like it's going to rain all the time, the way that we talk about how you need to pack all this rain gear, there is actually some sun that occurs in New Zealand quite often as well. So high-factor sunscreen, the UV levels in New Zealand are quite high. So even in October, and even if you don't usually wear sunscreen, it's a good idea to have some, especially in New Zealand. And then finally, a day pack. So usually because we've talked about all this interchangeable weather. We've talked about, having sunscreen, all that sort of stuff. Well, that's not going to be helpful if you leave it back at your accommodation or in your car. Having a day pack is absolutely essential for, having all these essential supplies when you are out and about exploring, going on some short walks, going to some different sites. So yeah, make sure you have a day pack. It's usually a good idea to get one that you can also, use as your carry-on for coming into New Zealand, so that you don't overpack as well. And yeah, that's about it.
Here you go. So that concludes everything you need to know about traveling in New Zealand in October. We've got much more tips on nzpocketguide.com, so check it out and hit the like and subscribe button because YouTube asked me to tell you that. All right, going back to the live chat, Sherry doesn't want to walk in the snow, which, is fine. It's fair to say.
And then she says, is there any point in me packing t-shirts or just long sleeves? I think
obviously t-shirts are a good thing to pack.
Yes, I agree. I think you should pack some t-shirts. Because also you can just put them underneath, even if you find you are cold for the whole time, having an extra t-shirt layer underneath is never a bad idea. But you may find that, if you are out doing, say, the Hooker Valley track and it's a scorching day, you may actually want to be down to your t-shirt. It can get actually that hot sometimes.
If you're Robin, you need a lot of t-shirts.
Yeah, so and especially you'll be doing a bit more exercise that gets you a bit warmer as well. So I definitely think t-shirts are a definite basic essential to take. Yeah, and even just to sleep in, that sort of thing, having an extra layer when you're sleeping, why not?
Yeah, I agree. Matua X says Morena, and he say I still do manus in reverse in winter. I don't know what a manus in reverse is. What is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Is that something to do with sports? if I don't know something, I assume it has something to do with sports.
Please elaborate, Matua X. Maybe we're just being really silly right now, which could well be the case, but yeah. Bombs. Oh. Yeah, is that what it's called?
In reverse. Oh, yeah. I get it. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I get it. Okay, nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, some people are hardcore, and especially New Zealanders in particular are a bit more tougher than the average.
So we live not too far from Lake Tekapo here, from Lake Taupo, here in New Zealand, and even in the middle of winter, sometimes we do see some locals swimming in the lake.
There is the odd person swimming in the lake.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's so cold. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, I think that, I do like my sun before I go to the lake. A little bit of sun, warm up that water a little bit would be good. I don't know, it's just my take on it. But yeah, in winter in New Zealand, you still have, and that, to be fair, you're making a point, right? Right now we're talking about the middle of spring, we're talking about October, which is not the winter in New Zealand. The winter in New Zealand are the month of...
June, July, and August.
Here you go. And so... even during those 3 months, right, you pretty much have all the activities available in New Zealand. You can still go scuba diving, you can still go whitewater rafting, you can still do all those kind of things. And a lot of people kind of misunderstand the fact that, if I'm going to New Zealand at a specific time of the year, I won't have access to any of all those activities. It's not really the case, and it's very rare for an activity not to be available all year round in New Zealand. Yes, you may have to contend with a little bit more weather, you may have a small chance of departure time to kind of change a little bit, like for example around Franz Joseph Glacier and those kind of things, but it still is happening, right? So do keep that in mind when you plan your trip to New Zealand. No matter the time of the year, usually pretty much all the activities will be available.
Yeah, and if, for instance, there is the odd thing like
don't see nothing.
Whitewater rafting in Queenstown is not available in winter. However, it is available in many other places.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it in one place, then there's a ton of other places that will do it. And just one other activity would be canyoning. Most canyoning trips are closed in winter, but that's everything else is open. So it's only these tiny little things.
Yeah. Clay is promising us a video of himself doing a manu in Lake Tekapo literally this morning. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. That's definitely what I'm reading right here. Sherry says, I need at least 27 degrees before I go near water. Oh, that's a bit high. I think
You may not be going into the water than in New Zealand, but
and with the
there's
amount of
hot pools, at
coastlines,
least.
lakes, and rivers we have in New Zealand, you won't really be able to travel around the country if you can't go near the water at this temperature. As we
Very
do have a
true.
lot of water in New Zealand.
Very,
It's,
very true.
yeah.
But yeah, like I say, luckily there's hot pools. Sherry, you may be more tempted to go to a hot pool. They're a lot nicer than doing a manu in the freezing cold lakes of Lake Tekapo, like Clay is about to do.
Yes, because we just decided you're doing that, right? She also said the only water I will be going to in New Zealand will be the hot pools. You
Makes
two are way
sense.
too alike right here. This is not going well right here. You
Yeah.
guys are influencing each other into crazy nonsense. But yeah, so the one thing I don't like about hot pools though is that you don't get to kind of move around so much. You know, like hot
No
pools is
one's
kind of like sitting.
stopping you, Robin.
Ah,
But yeah, it depends on actually what type of hot pool complex is.
Yeah.
There is family areas where you can definitely move around.
yeah, our Kerry hot pools is literally just a big rectangle. So
Yeah,
you could
exactly.
Be
There are
exercising, for
some,
example,
like,
yeah.
Essentially a big swimming pool that is a hot pool. So
But on
that's-
average, usually it would be
Yeah.
more usually like you sit down and you
exactly
just boil like a lobster for no
more
reason.
of the tourist places to go to.
Why
But-
would you do that?
Yeah, it's like you know, at Lake Tekapo, for instance, they have the Tekapo Springs there, and that's more like sitting down and. I don't
Sherry
know,
says, why
doing
would you want to
nothing.
move around? Just relax and read a book.
Two things Robin does not do.
Sherry, I don't think you know me very well. This sounds like my version of hell. When I die and I get smited for all my French swearing, and I'm sent to hell, I will be sat in a hot pool.
Forced to read a book.
Yeah, and somebody's singing nearby. That'd be just that. That'd be exactly that. All right. Matthew X says Clay has to do Manu now. Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. Matthew X asking Robin and Laura, how was my tattoo video? Yeah, did you see his tattoo? He posted on Facebook his tattoo, his fully completed tattoo,
cool.
which was quite cool. I
Oh well,
loved it.
we'll have to look at that during the Patreon session as
You
well.
you can look at it now.
Now,
Here you go. You
okay,
get both of them
cool.
right here.
Oh, nice.
Then we have Sherry says, just talking about
Wow.
myself. Yeah, you're talking about yourself, which you're talking about Laura. Clay says, the lake is extremely low at the moment, so nothing to jump off. Well, you can jump off something, you're just going to hurt your bum on the bottom.
Nice.
Yeah, how low is it at the moment? Like, what do you mean? And then Sherry was saying also the tattoo was so cool. It is a really cool piece, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's so intricate and so detailed as
Yeah.
well. Like, yeah, it'll be cool to sort of know what the meaning and stuff
Yeah.
is behind the design.
Yeah, I do. I did like so when we got our tattoo here in New Zealand, it was really cool to kind of describe a story and get the tattoo artist to kind of like talk to us about the meaning of each of the patterns that he chose for the design and everything. It was really a lot of fun.
Matua says, I do it where and when it's high.
Yeah, well, obviously you wouldn't want to hurt your bum in the water.
No.
Unlike me, which at times just decide to go in the water when I shouldn't. Anyway, that's another story for another day. Rick says, isn't there a specific name for this kind of tattoo? Yeah, it's called mokos. And Sherry says, I can't wait to get my tattoo when I visit. Yeah. So one of the tips that we always give people when coming to New Zealand, if you want to get yourself a tattoo, first step, obviously, do some research on the tattoo parlor you're going to be using and also the tattoo artist you're going to be using. So we do have some recommendation on NZ Pocket Guide. You don't want to go too cheap because it's something you're going to keep for life, hopefully. But a good tip that we have for you is to actually do it around the end of your trip because, well, a tattoo needs a bit of maintenance, a bit of care. And so if you're planning on doing any of those, as we say, like activities, you know, especially in the water, we were just talking about that. A good idea is to actually do that around the end of your trip. So you can put on wetsuits very easily. You can do a lot of different... different activities. Go to, put some sand on it and everything, without struggling too much. So you do it late in your trip. So once you've done all your crazy activities, then you can get your tattoo.
That all out of the way. Because, and also you need to remember that, like, I can't remember if it's like once a day or twice a day. You need to put, some cream on it. You need to, and also, while you're.
I mean, if you're a good student like we are, we follow the instructions, right? Some people don't care.
But you really should do it because there's gonna be. I sound like such a nagging person, but anyway, you really should do it because if you don't look after your tattoo, then there's definitely like some rubbing off can happen, like the ink can not set properly. So, and we have seen that, especially like as we've been traveling in New Zealand and we've met people who've just got a tattoo and then they've not maintained it properly, and you can actually see where some of the ink has faded because they haven't kept it.
Yeah, it's almost look like a little blurry, not as sharp.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Yeah,
so
no,
you actually do want to do it. Sherry
I
says,
agree. Here's a gold star.
yeah. So you should do it like twice a day, or whatever the artist recommends. But and also like keeping that routine while traveling, and you've got like a few days of traveling left, can actually be quite challenging. So again, that's another reason to do it more towards the end of your trip, so that you're getting closer to getting back to your home routine and incorporating, like putting the cream and moisturizer on or whatever it is that they make, the ointment. I can't remember what it is, but you want to be able to do that when you have a good routine to do it.
Matua is confirming that it's called a Tamoko, a tattoo on his arm. Sherry says when she's in New Zealand, she's going to get a tattoo in Queenstown. Her tattoo artist looks really good. Nice. Well,
Nice.
Get all your hot pulls needs before arriving in Queenstown.
Yeah.
Clay says that he's on lake watch duty, I guess, and he says I'll post some pictures later.
Cool.
Nice. And he will do anything to avoid jumping in the lake at the
I'm
freezing
too
cold
busy
temperature.
taking
now.
photos,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't jump in it if I'm taking photos.
And you're a plumber. Maybe there is a leak in the lake. Maybe you can go and fix that, and so then the water level would rise back up. Maybe that's
Oh yeah.
science.
Yes, I think you've got it down, and that's why you're not a plumber.
Sherry says it depends on the artist. Usually, you need to. I guess we're talking about the maintenance.
Yes.
Then it's twice a day. Rick said that's definitely on my list. Which one? Getting a tattoo?
Maybe getting a tattoo, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Clay says he's heard good things about them in Queenstown, Sherry. So here you go. You get a Clay recommendation down there. Do you have that? Do you have tattoo, Clay? I can't remember if we talked about that before. And Kiwi Lauren talks about where she got her tattoo.
She says, I got my NZ map tattoo at Stained Ink in Lower Hutt. And my tattoo artist, Brad, did a great job. Lower Hutt is near Wellington if anyone finds themselves in the area and wanting some new ink. Sherry says, yay, that's good.
Have you ever wanted to get another tattoo? Like, some people say, like, oh, once you start getting inked, you get addicted to it and everything. Like, so we got a tattoo together. That was both our first tattoo, right?
Yes.
Have you ever kind of thought, oh, I want, like, have you ever kind of just find yourself thinking if you want another tattoo? And why is it rubbing on your forehead?
Seriously, no. I haven't thought about getting another tattoo, but I think I kind of thought, like, I guess I kind of daydreamed about having, like, because I've got the North Island on my ankle, and I've kind of thought, like, oh, if we, like, move to another island or something, like, maybe would I get the tattoo of that island that, like, I would live on, and then in that case, then I would have to technically get the island of the UK put on my.
Oh God! Do you want a UK?
I was just like, maybe
tattoo?
maybe I can go crazy and get like every island that I've ever lived, like, because it seems like I've only lived on islands. On my ankle or up my leg and stuff. Like, I just kind of daydreamed that, but seriously, I've not actually seriously wanted to get another tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a long-winded answer.
Oh my God.
We're here to talk, right?
Clay says, leave the plastic wrap for a few days and let the plasma do its work. That's the Kiwi way to do it. Sherry says, very addictive. I have plans for 3 more after this trip. So there is one during this trip. So that's 4 tattoos already planned. That is a lot of tattoos.
I think also, like, I don't see my tattoo enough to be like, oh yeah, what? I don't know. I'm just like, it's there. It's just a part of me now. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really find myself looking at it and be like, oh wow, I got that tattoo. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just kind of like surprised. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Sherry also say move to Australia. That's an island. Isn't it a continent? It's a continent, Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a continent.
It's a very large island. I don't think Laura has enough skin for.
I don't get it to scale.
Laura is lacking the amount of skin needed to put Australia on her.
Yeah.
Maybe Tasmania. Maybe Tasmania
yeah.
will do, but
Let's
that's
look
pretty...
that up, whether Australia is classed as an island or
Maybe
a
it's both.
continent.
Maybe it's both.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Anthony kicking us out, saying stay safe, but I'm here until the end. Oh, I appreciate that. We have another few minutes with you guys. Appreciate it. Adil says, what's the guide for next week? NZ Pocket Guide. What is the theme? No, what is NZ Pocket Guides travel shows theme for next week? Phew, that's a hard one to say. I do not know just yet. We'll figure it out when we'll figure it out. Sometimes I plan them ahead, sometimes I don't. This one I haven't. So yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever your heart desire will be the theme. Who knows? It's
Wow.
top surprise.
I can't wait for that. Clay says the walk bridge over to the church, you can see the bottom.
Really? Wow, that is very low.
But that means the water is so clear, and I love that. Anyway.
Both islands and continents, says Sherry. So here you go. And Kiri Lauren confirms. So yeah. Clay says covered in tattoo, not stopping yet either. Wow. Okay. So what's the plan for the next one? So yeah, apparently everybody is more addicted than we are.
Tatted up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with us then. Maybe our tattoos are bad. Do you guys like our tattoos?
Maybe our tattoos are bad and we don't want to get
Are
anymore.
they just terrible? Are they like... There is like a subreddit of like, I think it's called shit tattoos or something like that. Like, or shitty tats or something. I can't remember what it is. And so like people post photos of like really terrible tattoos. Maybe I should post ours on there and see if people think they are bad or not.
No, I think ours are good.
I like mine. You know, maybe that's why we're not an ape. I don't know. I do like it. You know, we designed it.
I think also we're quite simple people. We usually
once enough.
Once is enough.
Yeah, we need a
When we go do the luge, we're always like, oh, let's just do it once, and then we go.
That's not true. You're lying. Kiri Loren says, I don't think I've seen your tattoos. Show us your tats. What? There is a whole video of us getting them and everything. But we'll show them. We'll
we can always repost the video on the Patreon group.
I'll post a link for you on the Patreon group so you have the whole spiel and everything.
Yeah,
all
you get the whole journey behind it.
Shuri says,
I spend money on things I don't need.
Why? Is that your next tattoo? Is that what you're getting?
I think like tattoos are like the money pit, right? It's like something you definitely don't need, but they do cost quite a lot. So yeah, I think that's definitely that's one thing. It's one of those it's an expensive habit to get addicted to. That's for sure.
Kiri Loren, I will put the link to the videos on the Patreon group shortly. Well, after this show, we do the Patreon show, and in between two shows, I'll put the video.
Yeah.
There you go. Bam, bam, bam. Sherry says I don't need more tattoos, but yeah, that happens. All right, guys. So speaking of the Patreon show, we do have a Patreon live show coming up right now, and we're going to be talking about carry-on luggage, last-minute packing tips, and Sherry was asking us some stuff.
We're going to be looking at Sherry's
itinerary as well. So here you go. That's going to be quite a lot of fun. If you're not on Patreon just yet, join us on Patreon. It's heaps of fun. It's dead cheap. So here you go. It supports the channel. Happy days, happy times.
Cheaper than a tattoo.
Oh, yeah. Jeez, you can stay on Patreon for like your entire lifespan. It wouldn't cost like the price of a tattoo. I mean, unless, you know, you get your tattoo in prison. That's only costs you 2 ramen noodles and, you know. There you go.
Another joke we won't talk about.
Exactly. All right. Australia is an island. Australia-Asia is the continent, is what Adil says.
Okay, so I can move to Australia and get it as a island tattoo. Cool.
Yes, you need more skin, but you can. For now, you can.
I will designate a place on my body for such things. I think the only
place with the largest amount of
I was
room.
going to say, where's got the largest amount of skin? Okay, I'm getting an Australian tattoo on my butt. Okay, with that, see you next week. I may have something to show you.